You could take me now.
What's going on, guys? As the preseason approaches us very shortly, here's 5 NFL teams that I think will disappoint us this season simply because they lost a lot of key pieces in free agency or even having some of their players retired. Number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. I think we can finally come to an agreement that the Legion of Boom is finally ended. With Cam Chancellor retiring, losing Richard Sherman to their rivals, they definitely took some hits on the defensive side of the ball. Also, there are reports saying Earl Thomas might be shopped as well, and that he's not even going to report to training camp. So there's a lot of defensive hits they've taken, and now we can look at this defense as not truly being feared anymore. Because guys, there's a time where you had Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Byron Maxwell, and all those other guys. Teams are like scared to throw Richard Sherman's way. Now it's not the case anymore, as Russell Wilson has a pedestrian offense that was 23rd in the run in rush yards and 14th in pass yards. It's going to take a lot of major things for Russell Wilson to do for this team for this season. Number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. As this team had the chance to draft DJ Moore or Calvin Ridley, someone to replace Dez Bryant, they certainly passed up on that for a linebacker that they hope can bolster up their defense. It's certain that their passing offense will be in total question this whole season. Their running game will definitely be great because they have a complimentary offensive line, but it's their defense and wide receivers that will be in question and how they're going to be able to produce. As they rank 26th in pass yards, while they did rank 11th in pass yards, I definitely think they still need to improve because of certain plays that they give up. I'm talking about the big plays in certain playoff games. If you guys remember the Cowboys versus Packers, where Aaron Rodgers rolled out to his left, I believe, and threw a dot to one of his tight ends, and that sealed the game for them. Also, I'm on record for saying if the Cowboys don't get rid of Jason Garrett soon, this team will never win a Super Bowl because Garrett is too incapable of making halftime adjustments and is really Jerry Jones' puppet for the most part of that team. So, Cowboys, get your stuff together. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. Everyone's excited to see Andrew Luck coming back. Unfortunately for Luck, he's coming back to a new division, a division that features 3 playoff contender teams, and they have definitely improved upon their rosters. I mean, it only took the Colts to realize, Andrew Luck getting beaten up and severely injured on the NFL field to realize that we need to bolster up their offensive line with a couple of bad picks, and it just took them up to this point to draft a top prospect in the offensive line. I think it may be too little too late for Andrew Luck in that he's going to be one of those great talents, and we'll look at and say, wow, his career was really wasted with a terrible franchise that will rather focus on drafting receivers and other needs than having a good running back and a solid offensive line. As we all know, building an offensive line is a key for any football team, guys. Just look at any other team like the Cowboys or Rays, have a great offensive line. And honestly, if he had a better roster, which I know is saying a lot, I definitely do believe he would have made it. He could have gone to Super Bowl at least maybe once, because we had to look at the times where Andrew Luck has taken the same roster to the playoffs with an underrated receiver T.Y. Hilton, subpar running game, and a horrific defense. They give a lot of rush yards, guys. So let's hope that Andrew Luck could possibly do something, but don't expect too much. Number 2, the Minnesota Vikings. You're probably figuring out why the Vikings are on this list. Well, even though they were just in the NFC Conference Championship, and yes, they lost really badly. If anything in life, guys, is true, that history always repeats itself. Any playoff game the Vikings are in, they either lay an egg or blow it away somehow. And need I show you many clips of examples? How about the Seahawks versus the Vikings when Blair Walsh missed a field goal kick, or them getting spanked by the Eagles, so on and so forth. So even if they do make the playoffs, they're just going to just squander away, because I do believe that the Vikings are a cursed franchise, and I don't know what they can do to get rid of that, but that's just something they can't defeat. They're their own worst demons, honestly. And yes, I understand they signed Kirk Cousins to a massive contract, but other key pieces are going to want their fair cut. And we're going to see how the Vikings address this, because, Stephon Diggs, he played lights out without Adam Thielen, all these other guys, and Anthony Barr, and they can't give everybody massive contracts, so you're going to have to figure out, who to keep and who to let go, or who's going to want to take a pay cut, which is very hard for people to do. And number 1, guys, I know we're all thinking it, the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, no. Despite Jarvis Landry saying they can drop 40+ points on any team and go to the Super Bowl, which is outrageous, but I like his spirits. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why? Because Steelers always play down to their competition. And last season was a prime example of that. Losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, or Saxonville, an inexperienced playoff team, has to be one of the most shocking playoff losses ever in Steelers history, at least for that matter. You guys had home field advantage, but somehow you were too concerned with the Patriots and that you overlook your other competition. And this is what I mean by Steelers. They get in their own way, smack talking the Patriots constantly, a team that's owned you in the playoffs for quite some time now. They played down to less competition. No disrespect to Saxonville. You guys absolutely handed it to the Steelers. I just believe that the Steelers were a better team. They could have beat y'all if they had their heads focused and on straight. They also need to pay Le'Veon Bell, because if they don't, you can definitely potentially see him on another team, and that's going to do a lot of damage for you guys, because he's one of the top 2 running backs in this league right now, guys. And I understand that in the NFL, running backs' career can be very short-lived, but you got to pay the man and give him his due. So with that all being said, guys, what other NFL teams do you think will disappoint this season? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you're new, make sure to subscribe and share. I really appreciate that, guys. And for all other people, make sure you like, drop a comment with other teams you think. And with that being said, guys, I am out.